Hello, good morning. Good morning, Titi. How are you today?
Good morning.
Are you sure you're fine?
Yeah, yeah.
Good, 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 good. And we're excited to be live on the Good Morning Education Show. If you're just joining us, this is the Good Morning Education Show, and we are live streaming from Lagos, Nigeria, West Africa to the entire world. And this is an opportunity to reach out to those who are joining us for the first time. Please do let us know where you're streaming from, send in your name, your location, share your comment with us. And if you do have questions, please do not hesitate to ask your questions. Today is another day, and it's going to be fantastic and an exciting time as well. And of course, we have our other guests that are and analysts that are going to join us as well. And as usual, what we normally do on the Good Morning Education Show is to share our perspective of our own opinion on the subject matter, and in some cases, bring in some experts who are subject matter experts on the matter that we're discussing. This week, we had Lola Neke share with us tackling the issue around teaching children with special needs, both at home and at school, and it was really a great time, right? And today is not going to be different. We're going to be having fantastic time, and we're going to be discussing on something quite important. And please, as you begin to join us, let us know. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone. I'm going to hand over to Titi to say hello in a special way. And afterwards, we'll take it up from there. We have the news. We'll review the news headline upon
Good
headline.
morning, everyone.
Fantastic.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello,
yeah, yeah,
everyone. Good morning. Good morning to
yeah.
all of you joining us today on the Good Morning Education Show.
Yes, fantastic. So we're not going to waste much time, but let me let you know that we're going to spend some time with the headlines, and then we will come back, and hopefully our all other analysts would have been online, and then they will join us. We'll read through the headlines, and I see that there are fantastic and interesting things coming up within the education industry. Events are taking place. Lots of training and resource materials available. So just spend some time to listen or look or watch, and then we'll review that. And the special educators summer camp is still on, and it's ending today, and it's going to be a great time. In fact, I'm going to be speaking today on the platform, and it's been awesome, all the way. So I would like to encourage everyone out there to do their best to make things available. So let's head over to the news, and then we'll come back for the headline. KK is in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see how she's looking like she's making a presentation to the World Bank this morning.
Maybe I am.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to You said?
I said maybe I am.
Maybe you are. Or should I tell them maybe what you're doing? You did a video this morning for your administration course.
You look lovely. You look lovely. You look lovely as always.
Thanks. I can see the picture up, but I'm not seeing the rest of it.
Titi, if York is singing good morning to you.
I would love to hear her voice. I hope it's melodious.
Really melodious, but I remember when she was on the show.
Okay. But she should send us a voice note. Let's play it. We'll play it tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. It's great to have you.
All right, so let's take the headlines very quickly. I know KK came in just with about like some few seconds after we started the news. So, Titi.
Let's start with you for a change. Which of the headlines grabbed your attention? Luckily, my
excuse me. Don't form that habit. Anytime KK shows up, all of a sudden you just stop being humble. What's your problem?
Which of the headlines grabbed your attention? Which of the headlines grabbed your own attention? It will be interesting to hear from you first for a change.
Everything caught my attention. Well, of course, the Unilag. Hey, Jude, nice balance. Jude, how are you?
I'm good. Good morning, TT. Good morning,
the ladies were looking for who to shred.
Never. Not on my watch. Good morning, everybody.
So Jude to the rescue. So I was talking about the news, and one of the things that caught my attention is the Unilag acting VC, right?
Our great lady.
Yes, she's going straight and she's not holding any captives. She's saying, look, the school is bigger than anyone, right? The school is bigger than anyone, and she truly means that. So that's one of the major things that caught my headlines. And of course, Avila Consult is putting together an EYFS, I think the last batch or the last stream for the year starting October 3rd. That is also something catchy. And then, of course, regular conversations around UI. The UI issue on the 13th VC that they're trying to get. And then finally, I know that you guys want to hear me say it, but the lady farmer that is, I know Titi is laughing. Look at her mouth. The 48-year-old mother that's quitting farming to fulfill her dreams as nurse. Yes. But I think the real news around it is fulfilling her dreams, not necessarily the profession, but the fact that you can actually pursue your dream and you don't think time is over or it's over for you. You know.
Yes, you can. You notice one of the astounding stories I really like is this KFC story, right?
Yes.
He was 60-something years
67.
old. 67 years old, and he opened a franchise that is still generational at this point in time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that was the news that caught my eye, to be honest. And for me, it's saying that don't let anybody tell you time has gone. Don't think that time has gone. Oh, you've not started. Your mates have already gone far. They're already this, they're already that. You know, why not start today? And I like that as I say that, it's to say there's so many opportunities now available. You know, if you whatever skill it is that you need to learn, it's easier to learn now than ever before.
Yes,
so if you're a teacher, if you're an educator out there, what I'm just saying is don't look at where other people's lane, and just look and say, what are your own dreams? What are things that you're passionate about? Start now to it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how long you've been on it. Just start now. It doesn't matter where other people are. Just start now and chase your dreams, chase your passions, chase your goals. It doesn't matter that COVID has taken out 6 months of the year. You can start now.
And at this point, you find that education is free. If you look closely, education is free. You might not get the assessment you want, but if you are good at assessing yourself, you can get almost free education online.
Yeah.
That's just the truth.
Online.
Let me just say this, and I'm sure someone might find this useful. Number one thing I realized is that time actually can shrink, and actually time can actually be accelerated. So you don't necessarily need to look at the yardstick of anyone to define what time is for you. So time is quite relative to a lot of people. We might be all on the starting lane, but we don't necessarily have to be running the same race. Some might be 400 meters, some might be a 100-meter dash. And then my older brother normally says something. He says, if you're ready to buy someone's opinion, be prepared to buy their lifestyle. So sometimes when people say that this is not possible, right?
Am I the only one or wrote?
Okay. He's
back.
frozen one.
Oh, I'm the frozen one. Can you imagine? I'm the chosen one. I'm not the frozen one. Rhoda is in the building. Good morning, Rhoda.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Rotimi, Titi, KK,
Good
Jude.
morning.
Great, Rhoda.
Rhoda, this is your voice.
Everybody noticed this time about the College of Education students that are protesting the reopening.
Yeah. That's true. I noticed that.
I didn't get that one. I'm trying to understand. As I'm trying to understand that one.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, people are. Well, let me not say people. The students themselves are looking at the possibility of how would they resume. I think that is actually in Kenya, if I'm correct. I need to look at that again, but it's happening in Kenya, right? And of course, everybody feels no, it wasn't. It's not Nigeria. Not Nigeria.
Okay.
Okay, we have some first time viewers in the building, and I think I noticed we have Ugochi Okore all the way from Port Harcourt. Ugochi,
Ugochi.
He's also known as the creative educator. All right. Yes. Okay. So, Rhoda, do you want to say anything about the news headlines?
I don't know if I don't think I saw the news headlines, to be honest.
Okay. Okay. Jude, you want to say something?
Nothing much. Is the Unilag saga and the whole thing. I think a school is bigger than one person, but there's also a governing body, right? So it depends on what they decide on who will be the next leader.
I guess they already have the next leader.
So if it's that,
let's head to the conversation of the day. So we're speaking today about something that I love so much because I've spent some time to do a lot of work on that. But at the same time, I really want to get to hear the perspective from KK, from Jude, from Rhoda, from Titi, and all those who are joining us across the world, right? So we're speaking today about the education export economy. The education export economy. for the benefit of those who probably might be feeling that this topic sounds too abstract or sounds too titty-like because she's a geek. Let me just whet your appetite, right? So when we talk about economy is not always talking about something in crisis, because a lot of times we're familiar with the word the Nigerian economy knows that the Nigerian economy, an economy is basically, let me just help, I try my possible best, don't crucify me on how I define it. But an economy or economy is actually a subset or sum total of the capacity to produce value, earn value, trade value, right? So that ecosystem that creates or contributes value through production, through services, through items, right? That becomes an economy to that entity, individual, or cluster. So when we speak about a nation's economy, we're talking about the sum total of what the nation can derive as value in earnings, and derive from production and productivity, and derive from items, things, and people. So that's why you look at it most times, the economy per nation is actually expressed by the realities or the social realities in that nation. So in Nigeria, oil is a social reality, it's a reality to us. So the oil sector or the oil and gas, it's bringing an economy to Nigeria. It's an economy to Nigeria. So we earn from it, we produce from it, we have activities in it. You understand? We derive value from it. Anything that is mainstream and comes out very, very, how do I put it down? That comes out very conspicuous is an economy to that person. So, for example, if I look at TT and I look at the capacity to create worksheets and education game, gaming is an economy to Niger Kids or an economy to TT, right? And consulting is an economy to you, right? So when we say what's TT's economy, is everything that is the sum total of TT's capacity to produce or capacity to earn and derive value through activity, through things, and through trade. You understand? So it's just like Rhoda. Rhoda is one that has so much economy. She's now in so many areas, but we know her as a curriculum theorist. We know her as an inclusion advocate. All those expressions of Rhoda, they have capacity to create value for her. They have the capacity to earn value for her. They have the capacity to produce value for her. Jude is a tech expert, right? And Jude is someone who is into filming and animation. So the content courses is like an economy to Jude. The knowledge of Jude is an economy to him. His skill is an economy to him, right? And then when we look at the anatomy of the average individual, so that I can ask the question, because Titi is wondering, am I making a thesis, right? So when we look at the economy of an individual, when we look at the anatomy of an individual, right, we look at it from the angle, which means that everything, anything has an economy evolving around it. So when I look at Titi, as I'm looking at the screen now, Titi's head has an economy revolving around it. She needs to wear glasses. So anyone who is able to, so our eyes can produce value for somebody, right? Are you getting what I'm trying to say, Jude?
Yes.
I'm following.
So KK's head also has an economy evolving around it. So our hair, for example, right, it's an economy to someone else, right? Rhoda's chair. So Rhoda's. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
Rotimi, let me help you simplify it. Let me help you simplify your PhD thesis on this education spot. So what to break it down, every time a country gets foreign students, that is called education export. So they are making money from that. And just to throw around some figures so that we can appreciate the size of this value to the economy. The UK did a report, and they're estimating that the ambition let me start with the ambition. They say the ambition is to increase education export to 35 billion pounds by 2030. Just to give you an idea, they wanted it to reach 23 billion pounds by 2020. You know, Australia, in a report that I read on Australia said that its education export is the fourth largest export behind iron, coal, and gold, and ahead of its tourism, natural gas, crude oil. So you can imagine, did you get that? Australia's export, education export, which is the value gotten from its foreign students, is ahead of its tourism, its natural gas, its crude oil. In terms of
let me help.
Don't let me start crying.
No. Let me help someone out there understand the simplification of TT and the position that I made. And I know Rhoda is going to jump in on this because I'm going to say something that will excite Rhoda. She's been quiet. I'm going to ginger Rhoda very soon. Now, listen carefully to this. Now, TT has been able to analyze the derivative of export, right? But I was trying to now help you understand that export really is one thing, education, economy is another thing. However, by the time you are now able to create a merger, right, you will now see that even from the basic definition of export, this thing is not a far cry. Export simply means the ability, right, to exchange or transfer, right, something from location A to another location. So the moment I defined export, I've already exported the definition across YouTube. The moment I decided to ask Rhoda a question, and the moment Rhoda opened her mouth to share from my experience and wealth of knowledge, export took place. Export does not always have to be you looking at a ship with container. It doesn't have to do with air freight. It doesn't have to do, Jude, you've been exporting for years now.
That is.
Kitty, you've been exporting for years. Everyone is an exporter in disguise. I don't know whether I get my point. The only challenge and the gap, which I would really want to hear from you guys, is this. We do not approach export from a system, and I'm wondering why. Because export is everywhere, right? And if we can get to understand the dynamics or the arithmetic of export, really, I think that the wealth of educators, especially in Africa, which is an untold continent, an untold story, right, will begin to flow in on their own accord. Yeah. Are you following what I'm trying to say? So this is the question that I would really want us to say.
Okay, go ahead. I wanted to throw some sand. I wanted to throw some sand into this conversation. You know,
into the Gary of the conversation.
Into the Gary of the conversation, just to appreciate what export, this education export. You know that was it a few weeks ago that Trump made a decision to say that if foreign students are going to be doing distant learning, then they won't be granted visas.
Yes.
I don't know if you people heard of that story. They won't be granted visas. The major exporters, what do you think they did? The Harvard of this world, how did they rise up?
Yes. The Princeton of this world, the MIT
of this world. You see, they make, I was looking for America's figures, and their figures for export was for 2018-2019 session was 44 billion.
Yes, I shared that some weeks ago. Yeah.
44 billion. So those people rose up.
Remember, Titi, you are speaking of university or degree courses. Now, let me flip the coin, right? There are events that are also export related. The moment you go for a conference of 2 days or 3 days, right, it is an export in itself. which is also an aspect of education tourism, not even tourism now, education tourism. The moment Rhoda did a program on decoding dyslexia, if I'm correct, it was an export, right? It was an ability to be able to get people to seek for knowledge from a location wherever they are. So if you are in Kaduna and you go all the way to Lagos for a program or a seminar, right? That in itself is called education tourism, right? So if we now ask ourselves, for example, in Nigeria, where is the location that has the highest saturation of convergence for education or for learning, for one thing or the other, right? That thing in itself, the commissioner or the Minister of Education, you actually see it as an export in itself. How can we encourage, you know, there's the Dubai, I think GS Summit or something. Rhoda, say something now. Rhoda, you're quiet today. What's happening?
No, I'm here. I'm just listening. You know, I'm trying to, I guess I'm just really just trying to, in my head, you know, I always try to understand the components of what we're talking about. So I'm listening to you all, and I'm trying to like create like a products out of what you're saying. So I'm trying to export, get the exports from you. And so in my head, I'm thinking, is there probably two things? I'm thinking is the exports, or let me put it this way. Is it the export of talent or the export of the products of talent? So I'm trying to understand both of you as you go through the conversations and saying, okay, so in relation with respect to education and the export of the talent coming from education and the products of the talent coming from education is what this conversation is basically all about. And so I'm trying to wonder, like, okay, so what do we want to, what do we want our focus in terms of like this conversation to be? Would it be around the ecosystem, as you mentioned, Rotimi, earlier, or would it be that we want to pick one? Because this is really broad. So it's very like I'm waiting for Rotimi to just like hit it on the nail on the head, because it's so broad. And you've talked about conferences, you've talked about universities as an export. You've talked about what else? I picked out conferences, I picked out universities. I'm still waiting to to pick out a couple of other things. Don't mind me, I'm in primary 2 right now.
EdTech is one of the ways that So if you take things like Rotimi said, like Niger Kids, take U-Lesson, that are reaching outside of, I don't know whether companies like Edvis, I've said reaching outside of Nigeria. So once you're providing a service, a product that is education related outside of the country, if you're doing a webinar and you have people that are attending from outside the country, it's also a form of education export. I think the important thing for me, as Rotimi brought the topic, is saying that, look, this is a gold mine. Nigerians, we have talent, and not just Nigerians, Africa, we have talent. We've allowed a lot of people bring their talents to us, which we've taken, and that's fine. I mean, the world needs to collaborate. Well, my point is, what about us exporting our own talent from the comfort of our home? What about Rwanda started doing that awesomely? Do you understand? Rwanda is now the conference center for, now before at a particular time it was South Africa. Now it's Rwanda. Everybody's going to Kigali, for education tourism right now. The conferences that are happening in Kigali. Even me too, I'm waiting for Rotimi to send me to conference in Kigali. I was hoping I would do it in 2020, but you know what?
You are asking for it and you will get it.
So that's education export. And I think what blew my mind is just the fact that it can be a major source of export to a nation. When I looked at it, it could be a major source. And so I'm saying that when I look at Australia and the fact that education tourism is ahead of crude oil, is ahead of tourism, because Australia too is known for tourism, is ahead of tourism, I'm saying then they've hit something right. But when the government, in Nigeria, we only look at they don't look at education as beggars, that's the truth. That's how the government looks at education. The beggars have come.
I hate to be a bearer of bad news, but I just like to, like have a circle back. To be honest, this is a national conversation, what we're talking about here.
Yes,
And so it is not sectoral. It is not unitized in quotes. So because basically what we're talking about, you're talking about a people and what their talents and the products of their talents and products and services of their talents. And in this case, we have even within the country, how much of our talent has been exported within the country. So I'm just like, what is the pool of exports here? That's my question.
Okay.
I hate to be a buyer because
Rhoda, you're not a bearer of bad news. That's not bad news. That's actually, you have to ask questions to have answers, and which I was trying to also add to that. So you probably don't even, and I know most of your questions is not because of what you want to know, but it's to also help others to get to know, right? And listen, I think we also need to help people understand that export is a little bit and a little bit not the usual conversation you will have within the education sphere, right? But then we need to get that rudiment clear, what export is. We need to also take a step further to explain what an economy is too. Also, but let me now say this, which might probably lead to a definite question like what I was trying to allude. Something is not an economy without a reference to you. What I mean is this. We only say something is an economy when it is in reference to the entity on the individual. I don't know where you're getting me. So if I say, for example, Rhoda's economy, it's not my economy. I can't say economy as in abstract, right? There has to be the reference. So I'm either talking about myself, my economy, or someone's economy, meaning that this conversation, as national as it can be, it's also individual, as it should be. We need people to begin to understand, how can I discover my personal economy, or how can I discover my sectoral economy, and begin to explore exporting.
So, Rotimi, before you go there, right, before we go here, I think we need to understand the fact that export, for me to seek an export, there's a pull factor. And that's the point I would like to talk about. There's a pull factor. For me to say I want to send my children out to university, why am I trying to do that? I'm trying to send them to the US or to the UK or Canada or Australia because there's a pull factor from that region. I can look at it and say, if these people come out and say they went to university in this place, already it has differentiated them in some way. So before we look at the economy and what we can do, or the talent and the product of the talent, as Rhoda so succinctly put it, we need to circle back to the perception. Before I export crayfish, there's a market. There's someone Nigerian crayfish, and I'm going to look for that crayfish. Why should people say that Nigerian education is something I want to look for? And I mean, again, it circles back to the perception that people have. What value is embedded in these exports that I want to seek for myself? So before we even look at ourselves, we must begin, and which is what Rhoda said, that is a national conversation, to be honest with you. Because you look around you and you're saying to yourself, okay, these people that are exporting their education, what have they done to better their lot? And so it just kind of, so I'm sorry to put a spanner in the works here, but I mean, it just kind of, look at it and say, we need to
I get JJ's work.
Not JJ. You have exported a name.
Yes, the truth is that this conversation, I think I've had it with Rhoda several times, why are we not exporting our education? Till thank God you brought it. Why are we not exporting our education? And you find that out. The truth is, if you see countries that are high in certain kind of skills, it's easier to export their education. If you see China can export its education because they can boast that they are the largest manufacturer, right, in hardware and OEMs components. If you see India, they can export their education. If you see countries that are high in certain kind of skills, that are in demand globally, it's easier for them to export their education. It's easier for them to. Now, if Nigerians are trying to export our education, what benefits do you want to back it up with in terms of skill-based component? Can you tell world that our education is this price because we have this kind of skills in Nigeria?
Okay.
Till that is settled.
I would love to answer your question in this way, and probably also get to make people understand that when we talk about education, we must consciously, deliberately, not just mention schools when we talk about education, right? There are many things, right, that encompasses education, which of course Rhoda was also trying to say, it's not just a sectoral dimension of it. But let me explain this. Export in principle, right, is ability to do what? Take something from one location and transfer to the other with value in mind, right? And Rhoda also said that we've not even a nest within the nation, which I'm going to answer why we do not export education. Number one is because we do not understand the principle of economy, right? And the principle of economy is quite clear. Number one, it is the one who exports that gives a name. So a lot of times we forget to understand that we have the right to name. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? If you check anything that is rock solid behind any form of export, the first principle, apart from the fact that the thing must have one value that you know someone needs somewhere, is the fact that it has a name, right? Anybody must, in fact, everybody must overcome that. So if you notice the reason why someone would travel, Rhoda, you've traveled across the country, you've traveled across the world on the basis of, number one, name. Now, when I say name, I'm not saying your name. So if Rhoda, for example, let me ask you a question, Rhoda, if you don't mind. If you hear that there is a curriculum, maybe there's a curriculum reform conference in South Africa and you are available, your schedule is not tight and all that, what will you do?
Attend.
Why did you attend?
Because it's value. It's value
because
pack.
Of the name. There are many other valuable conferences, but it will not catch you until the name, right?
Absolutely.
So KK is putting together a course. A course is anything, can be anything. But she has put what? A name. The beginning of export is naming. The reason why a lot of people would dream of starting a school and put Montessori attached to it is because of what? A name. The subsistent power of any economy is the naming of that thing. Ability to, in fact, value begins with naming. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? That's why in advanced society where knowledge transfer is well structured, you will see that there's a difference between seminar and conference. We don't understand the difference. The context, the highlights, the experience, two different things. There's a difference between master class and a course. Just like for those of us that do public speaking, there's a difference between a speech and a keynote address. There's a difference between a presentation and a training. There's a difference between a motivational talk. There's a difference between pep talk, right, and a pitch. Even though you have topics for all of them. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So it is the naming that puts the value, right, first. Now, the second thing is this. A lot of people don't believe that they can alter value. And I say this with every form of confidence. Education is one structured sphere that has so many realities evolving around it. But a lot of people feel that because it was handed over to them and they've not really interplayed or they've not really related with it, they don't feel they can toy with it, right? That's why somebody's not able to say that, you know what, let's say at least what's the unique selling point of Africa? You have a lot of kingdoms, traditional societies, right? That a lot of people would love to learn from. We don't see it as value because we've not named it with value. But you find out that, do you know that some children have explored all the parts of all the world, done different tour around the world. And imagine somebody said, okay, I want to take you to understand the Benin Kingdom, dated back in so years, and then you'll be able to travel to come to the Obas Palace and all those things. That in itself, once you name it, you will see people pick up tickets. If you partner with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs or Internal Affairs, you see people pick up tickets. You partner with the Home Office out there and in here. So what I'm trying to say is, we must. Sorry.
Rotimi, yeah, when you're done, I want to say something. Go ahead, please.
So in a nutshell, what we want people to understand is that the economy of education, right, is one thing, but the derivative of the value of that economy begins with exporting it. You can have your export transnational, you can have your export national, you can have your export statewide, you can have your export citywide. But it's the person that exports that has the right to name. I said something some days ago.
So KK, just a moment. So if let me say this, right? Because the topic is the education export economy, and I'm going to pick out the word economy, right? A country's economy becomes definitely more productive as the proportion of the workers in that, or the educated workers, increase, isn't it? And since educated workers can be more efficient or can carry out their tasks more efficiently.
Hello, Rhoda, are you there? Hello,
Rhoda.
Hello. Okay, so Titi, I have a question for you while we wait for Rhoda's audio. And in fact, I have a question for all of you. Titi, your audio. Mute, your mic is on mute.
I'm asking you a question. Let me look for trouble.
Question.
I've said a lot. I think,
okay, so Jude and KK, I want to ask you this question. Okay, let me start with KK so it doesn't look like. Let me start with your twin sister. So KK.
Okay. Twinny, you got this. Twinny, you got this.
So KK, I'm sure you've been privileged to travel out of the country, and you've gone for probably you've visited tourist centers and tourist sites, right? Those places that you were able to visit, what was the kind of education level of the people, either the tourist guide or the people that actually are custodian of that location? What was your experience like?
So I mean, there were different levels, to be honest with you. So it depends on the job that the person is doing, right? So if you talk about the tourist guide who is talking about the different things, usually it depends on this place again. So some out of the backwoods sort of place, you might find that the person is not very educationally qualified in terms of his intonations and maybe him or her thought patterns, but they know what it is they are meant to do. So that particular place, for example, if we're on a boat cruise in New York and they can point out to us all of the different landmarks, they can tell me the history of they can tell me what I need to know along the path of the tour, right? So they do know their own, they know their onions. Let me borrow a word from Ifyok in that regard. So Rotimi, I understand you 100%. Now that I have the mic, let me say my piece.
No. You understood my question. You don't. I'm not going. Don't go there. Don't go there. I really the bell for you now. Don't go there. What I'm trying to say is this: the education economy is the education economy. There's the education economy that is formal. There's the informal. So what we're saying is this. An economy is always attributed to the individual. Therefore, everyone has a common denominator. As much as KK can earn is as much as Jude can earn. As much as Yarisi can earn, right, is as much as Mama Chikodi can earn. The point I'm trying to make is if they understand the principle of economy to them and through them. So you can say what you want to say.
Yeah, Rotimi, I understand this and I agree with you. But I hate the fact that sometimes people have a wrong perception about export or about any sort of thing. We need to look first and say, what value can I give to people? What solutions can I give to people? If we push the value, money will follow value. It's like what you have just said now. Why I'm going because I know that value attached to these things. So I would like us to, almost like a flip learning classroom, let us flip the coin a little and put the money behind it and say, you know what, let us begin to talk about our value offerings. The reason why people are signing up to my school administration course is because they know that I have clout when you talk about school administration.
Marketer.
So it's to bring to the front.
Marketer, the reason why people are signing up. Dude, people are signing up for our own course, yes or no? This is the export. I would have heard
please let's stay on course. Let's stay on course.
Okay, so let's stay on course. What I'm trying to say is this. You see, we have to be careful because not everyone is capitalist inclined, right? I want people to recognize that. And when we approach this from a globalization perspective, see, KK, you might have the dexterity to bring together content and communicate the content to the world. Some don't have that dexterity. In fact, some won't thrive doing it as an end-to-end approach. Are you following me? Yeah. Which is why export is, think about it, if you've exported anything that is in the normal mainstream economy, right? You find out that the person that creates a product thinks about packaging. He creates a product, thinks about freighting. Everyone must recognize that the value chain is made up of enablers and amplifiers, and you seek them out and drift or try to go through gravitating into numbers. So we've not necessarily seen it. So let me give an example, right? We have over 300,000 teachers in Lagos. But most of the time, an average seminar, and at least let me use the sample space of what I understand and I know, most of the time, have you ever seen a conference planning to have 100,000 people in education?
Yeah.
It's not even in the thoughts. Is it that it can't happen?
It can.
But we have monthly events that gravitate into 1 million. I'm not mentioning names. We have a faith-based concerts that gravitate into 500,000. Why is it that nobody has ever decided, right, to think of we need to fill a TBS for an education conference? Hold on. So for us to do that, it is not going to be, it's not going to be a teacher committee. For you to be able to fill a TBS, you are going to need people in that do stage concert events that are not education. They will just need your brief. You need to get people who market, who are not used to curriculum or lesson planning, who know about getting customers. Are you getting me? Until we begin to understand that we need to export even collaboration in itself. It's not a thing. So now I want to
I need to get my own bell. I need to get my own bell.
Buy my bell.
I need to get my bell. I think we should take some comments. Let's try and get our audience and let's see what's happening in the comments. Let's take some comments as we let out the passion and the fire.
Jude, you see, I'm fighting for you today.
Because Rotimi is on fire on this is education export. Oh my goodness, let's take some comments. Rod, are you up to taking comments today so that I can hear your wonderful voice? Is brother still with us? Rotimi, let's take comments. Oh, Rhoda, over to you.
Okay. My body, she's got my back. She can't be against me.
Never, ever will I ever
go against Rotimi.
Oh, brother, I'm ringing the bell of blessing.
And another
The bell of blessing. And I'm laughing like Santa Claus. Ho, 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 ho.
You know. Ooh. Can you hear me? I feel like I'm echo.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something wrong with my network, I guess. Can you hear me?
It's better now.
Okay. All right. So can I go ahead with the comments?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So we have educators saying, thank you for joining Ethiok. Ethiok is our tribe member. Good morning, great educators. Nana. Thank you. Next comment. Masters at Nana, we say good morning to you. Good morning from great educators from Abigail Solomon. Abigail is another tribe member. Welcome. Thank you so much, Abigail. Favor, yes, always consistent, Favor. Thank you. Great morning this morning, everyone. Thank you, Favor. Ugochi, the creative educator. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Ugochi, from on our YouTube channel. Ifyok says, yes, Titi, start now and chase your dreams, chase your goals. Nice. That was in reference to the early time. She continues, sitting back to look at how much you have not done and how far everyone else has advanced will maim you and keep you from doing anything at all. I totally agree with that. Thanks, Ifyok. One fancy teacher. Good morning, amazing educators. Thank you, one fancy teacher. The excellent teacher. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, the excellent teacher. Thank you. Blessing, of course. Blessing. I just saw your voice note. I'm going to listen to it. Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Blessing. The dyslexia coach herself. Ifyok, we do not export our education because we do not trust our onions. Attaching value to what it is we have. Okay, attaching value to what it is we have to offer. That's Owetimi's point, I think. We don't see it as value because we have not named it with value. Yes, Rotimi, I agree with that. Mr. Rotimi on fire. May I vote him in as the minister for education imports?
You didn't even have to come to you.
Completely agree. Minister of Education Export.
Oh my God. Okay, Nana says, Mr. Rotimi, but we don't appreciate our own system of education. I have always wondered why anyone can start schools in Nigeria with their own curriculum. We have British curriculum, American, Turkish, etc. You can't do that in other countries. Agreed. Yeah. But I do know that, like in countries that are very successful right now in education, like Singapore, Singapore actually did do a lot of adoption from British and American. So, adaptation from those countries. So I think there's always nice blend when you go to where there's best practice. You want to pick from there. Nana, again, yeah. Some years back, the Polish community wanted to start a school with their own curriculum, and the Irish government refused. Our certificates are not even respected enough internationally. True. I can't even say too much of that. Oh, sorry, I meant exports. Okay, Ifyok, why now? You should have not left it there. Yeah? Oh, this is not good. We're having a good laugh.
When the others have mentioned it to Ifyok, that you should mind the gap. Mind the gap.
Okay. So I think Rotimi, before okay, time is out, so we should take closing, comments from all the analysts on education export. Rotimi, we will continue the fire at the back.
At the back end.
my AC is not working, Steph.
Is that helping to cool you? Okay, so Rotimi, back to you.
I thought you were taking comments. Okay, all right. So those of you who have joined us, we want to appreciate you so much. those of you that commented as well would like to appreciate you so much. And our conversation here is actually just expressing our views, and we also respect other people's views on the matter. But we believe that it's time for us to begin to consciously create value, add value, and in that perspective, come up with African content as well, so that we don't have a deficit of expertise. I believe that a lot of people will respect what we carry if we begin to export our own consciously. Last year I noticed that there was a surge of transitioning our expertise out of our shores, and it really got a lot of respect. So if we deliberately begin to do that, have an agenda behind it, bring people also to our world, see how we do stuff. By the time they compare, it's almost going to be like it's not bad after all. People in the movie industry have done it. The people in the music industry have done it. Those are visible templates that we can borrow ideas from. I'm looking forward to a time where we have a 90,000 audience, and I'm going to be introducing KK to that audience to give an opening remark to 90,000 educators. And you know how KK is. She has her pomp and pageantry, she has her finesse, she has everything, and her passion wearing the African print. I'm looking forward to an opportunity where people will be addressing a continental international conference of tech people, right? I'm looking at a scenario where Rhoda is doing a question and answer to 100,000 audience, right? And she's explaining why there must be student choices and student voices. Looking at the situation where Jude will show his face and not hide behind the camera because he has about 70,000 people willing to shake his hand, and then he'll do a virtual 4D to shake them. At such point in time, we will be thriving on exports. So with this few points of I rest my case. Over to you guys. It's been a great time today. Over to you guys. Bye bye.
Yeah, I think it's time we start exporting our know-how to
Let's start with exporting our faces.
I export as much as I can.
I was just going to say, jumping off of what Rotimi said now, I think about agri-science, and I imagine what we could have done with that. Because, even if you just take yam, for example, as a species, we have many species of yam. And I think about, the education that could have come even from yam production. And the fact that whenever conversations around agri-science, agriculture, was just something we owned and became what we could export. That is an industry that an education system could have built around. So, again, it's about curriculum meeting industry or education meeting industry kind of conversation. So I'm waiting for that pool, for that like strong economic naira, and again, it's about naira and kobo, and that's why now immediately COVID hits, the dollar went up again because there's not much to exchange. So it's the pool, and I hear you loud and clear to me. I'm always on your side. I just imagine what we could have done, and this is a conversation we should continue. We should break it into components and just hold on to the different patterns. Let's have this is significant for everyone. Thank you guys. You're the best.
KK, you next.
Okay, so it's really important that as we continue this conversation, we don't think about doing things by ourselves. So we must look at the planning segment and the planning element of it. Who can we collaborate with? When we leverage on the network of different people, we can expand our numbers. Yes, Rotimi talked about naming. A name only has effect when you can see that this name is backed up by certain people. So let's begin to look at the naming. Let's look at the planning elements. Don't plan for an event and give yourself 2 weeks. If you want to have a huge number, you need to, put in a lot of planning elements and then collaborate with people who can expand your circle of influence. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. I think what I'll just add is the fact that we don't have to wait for everything to be perfect. You should follow the news. You know that America's education system in whole is not perfect. The one in the UK, anywhere in the world, they're not perfect, but they take the elements of value that they have and then send out that value. So we as a country, we as different individuals need to see our value and say, how can we take value to the world? Let's not keep it. We don't have to wait for it to be perfect, but let's start. I think it's that consciousness and it's that having that mindset and having that goal that will allow us to achieve it and get to that place. We don't have to wait for government. We need to get to that place where we see we have some value that we can bring to the world and let the world know about it. So thank you, and over to Rotimi.
Has Jude said something?
Yes, Jude has.
Yes.
All right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for those who joined us. Bella, blessing once again. And we're going to be here tomorrow. And tomorrow, please ensure that you tell everyone that you could tell. We will be speaking about something very important: wellness, and of course, mental health. And it's going to be a great time. Thank you to our analysts. Thank you to everyone. Please follow TT, follow Jude, follow Safety Tricks, follow AK, follow Rhoda, follow myself, follow Eben. They're fantastic stuff that are happening. For those of you who want to register for the EYFS powered by Avila Edu Consult, please do. KK's administration course is still on for the registration. We have the animation, I'm correct? Animation, right? Animation 2020? Or is it Animate 2020?
Animate 2020.
Animate 2020. It's still there. And just, do something to improve yourself. So we'll be here tomorrow, same time, and we'll be glad to have a good time with you. Thank you, and God bless. Bye.
Bye. Bye.